webinar series, Global Education Journey, Navigating Your Path to Success. My name is Jasmine Saidi Keenert. I'm the CEO and President of the Academic Credentials Evaluation Institute, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. We have a couple of housekeeping notes. Today's webinar will be recorded, and you will receive a link to the recording at the end, usually within 24 hours. All our attendees will be placed on mute, but if you have questions, please go ahead and type them into the chat box that is at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We will allow time to answer your questions before we close the webinar. Today's webinar is the second of a three-part series that we're providing, addressing issues on how to access U.S. higher education. Last week, we spoke about, finding the right fit of a university for you. And today we'll be focusing on how to apply to colleges and universities in the U.S. Our presenter will cover various aspects such as creating a strong application, writing compelling essays, securing strong letters of recommendation, and preparing yourself for the standardized tests like SATs or the ACT. We will also offer you valuable insights into the different application requirements and the deadlines for various universities, as well as strategies you can use to maximize your chances of acceptance. Now, let me introduce to you our presenter, Dmitry Satsuk, who has been active in the field of international education, admissions, and enrollment management for over 20 years, focusing on international student enrollment and retention, and foreign credential evaluations. Dmitry is currently at Roger Williams University as Director of International Enrollment, and also serves as a foreign credential consultant for ACEI. He has a Master of Arts in International Education from NYU. It is my pleasure to have you here again with us today, Dmitry, to take us onto our second journey on navigating the U.S. higher education. So without further ado, I will turn the mic to Dmitry and take myself off of mic and camera. Thank you, Dmitry.
Thank you, Jasmine, for an excellent introduction. Hello, everybody, and again, welcome to our second part of the series. The second part is about applying to various colleges and universities in the United States. Last week, we talked about strategies to find the perfect fit college or university in the United States. And let's say that those of you who are attending this webinar or watching this webinar already selected maybe 7, maybe 10, maybe 20 colleges or universities in the United States. And now let's talk about applying to them and application procedures and protocols. So, a lot of information that I will give you during this webinar comes from personal experience while meeting with high school students, transfer students, graduate students in various parts of the world. And when I talk to them and tell them that, for example, the university where I work, Roger Williams University, accepts only common applications, many students told me that they have no idea what the common application is. So I decided that our first chapter of this presentation would be about the common application. So the common application is an online undergraduate admission application. The Common App allows students to complete one application and then send it to almost 500 member universities. Although please remember that common application caps the number of colleges or universities where you can apply at 20. So unfortunately, if you want to use only common application, you will have to think about 20 universities where you can send the common application to. So below, there is a website for the common application, and I think it's a great tool for applicants, both international and domestic. It saves time, hassle, And again, you can use the same application for so many colleges and universities in the United States. First of all, when you log in into the common application, please remember that it's a 12-page document, and some questions that common application has, those questions have nothing to do with you applying to a school or university. However, please be patient with the common application, okay? And you can always save your information for the common application and come back later and finish the common application. Common application does require you to write an essay. So most universities, once they receive the common application essay, will not require you to send them another essay. And again, a couple of notes regarding the common application. It does require application fee. So you may want to reach out to the admissions office of the university or college you're applying to and ask them to send you the application fee waivers. Usually application fee ranges from 50 to 80 US American dollars. So if you apply to 20 universities, then we're talking about a very expensive amount. So probably you want to reach out to a university and ask for application fee waiver. Now the common application, again, only for undergraduate admissions. If you decide to apply as a graduate, most universities have graduate application links on their websites. And in general, it's a good idea to do your own research before you even start applying. Go to university's website, find out if they are part of the common application. If not, probably they have their own application system. I can give you an example. California State Universities, they have their own application portal, and they don't accept applications from anywhere else. Most community colleges in the United States also have their own application websites. So again, go to university's website, find information about undergraduate or graduate admissions, and usually, again, if university has a good website, usually it will not be a problem for you to find apply now link or a button that you can click, and of course it will go to application website, again, whether it's for undergraduate or graduate applicants. Sometimes when you have issues with common applications, they should give you their help desk email, and because universities where you're applying to using common applications, they do not administer common application. So you will, if you have any technical issues with common applications, you will have to email them directly and ask for help. Okay, so when you submit your application, your next step would be submitting documents. And one of the documents, required documents for international students, are exams, whether it's SAT or ACT or TOEFL or IELTS, or many universities accept Duolingo for the English proficiency test. And again, and I probably will be using this phrase a lot during this presentation, go to university's website, connect with the admission counselor, and ask them what kind of English proficiency test they require. In most cases, you will find this information on university's website. And also after COVID, there was a big movement in the United States, and many universities, even Ivy League universities, decided to go test optional, meaning they waived SATs or ACTs requirements. But please note that international students are still required to submit the English proficiency test. However, lately I've noticed that especially Ivy League schools and top-ranked universities in the United States are talking about bringing back the SAT or ACT requirements. So many of them already implemented this policy for fall 2024, and many of them will be switching back to require SAT or ACT for fall 2025. So this is for undergraduate students. For graduate students, again, please remember to check the websites. Some universities will ask you to submit TOEFL as well, even if you're applying as a graduate student. And many universities will ask for GMAT or GRE for specific programs. Each university is different. So different universities may have different policies in terms when it comes to exams. So again, it's a good idea to check beforehand, go to their websites, and again connect with the admission counselor for undergraduate or graduate admissions. So part of the documents that you have to submit to support your application for admission, of course, besides tests, are your transcripts, whether it's high school transcript, if you're applying as a first-year undergraduate student, university transcript, if you haven't completed a degree and thinking about applying to US universities as a transfer student, or transcript showing completion of an undergraduate degree and degree award if you decide to apply as a graduate student. So many universities will ask you to submit what they call evaluation of these transcripts. What is an evaluation? It's an opinion of a third party what your degree is equivalent to in the United States. Besides the degree equivalency, universities also require you to submit a transcript, evaluated transcript, so they can see credit conversion and grade conversion and GPA based on the American 4.0 scale. And many universities will ask you if your documents are not in English, they will ask you also to submit an English translation. So again, one more time, go to the university's website, because some universities will ask you to submit an English translation in case if your documents are not in English, but not an evaluation. It means that these universities do evaluation in-house. And some universities will require you to submit both an English translation and evaluation from an accredited evaluation agency. For my purposes, for my university, I've been accepting transcripts from graduate and undergraduate students for many years. And also, I received a lot of evaluations from different evaluation agencies. To be honest with you, if you're searching for an evaluation agency, I would recommend to go to ACEI website. In terms of customer service, because if you have questions about evaluation or you don't understand something, you probably want to get connected with the evaluation agency. So in terms of customer service, response time, I believe that ACEI is by far the best evaluation agency. And also they have competitive prices, and they can process your transcripts and degrees and diplomas fairly fast. So again, go to the websites, university websites, and check if they require, even if you're a high school student, some universities do require high school students to submit evaluations and some don't. So as I said during my last week presentation, there are 4,000 universities and colleges in the United States, and almost all of them have different policies when it comes to submitting transcripts, translation of transcripts, and evaluation. And please remember that English translation and evaluation of a transcript are two completely different jobs. If they require an English translation, so it means that your transcript has to be translated into English word by word. However, evaluation is, again, it's somebody's opinion of what your degree and grades and courses and credits, if you have undergraduate credits, would convert into the American system. Letters of recommendation and essays are very, very important part of your application, especially if you're planning to apply to an Ivy League school for undergraduate or graduate degrees, regardless, top ranked university in the United States. Because let's face it, if you're applying to Yale, Harvard, Brown University, those universities have acceptance rate of maybe 1 or 3% for undergraduate students. And the figures, statistics are pretty much the same for graduate students. And they receive so many applications from all over the world, from students from all over the world. And these students are excellent students with excellent GPAs, wonderful SAT or ACT scores. So how do you distinguish yourself from the rest of the applicants? How do you catch an eye of an admission officer? Well, by submitting a letter of recommendation and essay. Depending on the university you decided to apply to, some universities ask for 2 or 3 letters of recommendation. Some universities ask for only 1. Some universities will ask you to submit a letter of recommendation from your guidance counselor or your teacher or whoever knows you at your school. And in most cases, letter of recommendation should reflect your academic abilities, your abilities as a student. If you attended a school that doesn't have a guidance counselor, no worries. As admission officers, we understand that not all international schools overseas have guidance counselors. So make sure that your teachers will submit the required letters of recommendation. It's a good idea to ask a teacher of subject related to your major to write a letter of recommendation. For example, if you want to study engineering, ask your math or physics teacher to reflect on your academic abilities as a skills as a student. Or if you want to study education in the United States, then probably ask your English language teacher or psychology teacher to write a letter of recommendation. For the graduate students, if you cannot get letters of recommendation from your school, high school, because you graduated a long time ago and they don't remember you, try to get letters of recommendations from your professors at your university. If you have been employed, then maybe 1 letter from your employer would be a good idea to show university that you have experience. Hopefully your experience is in the field that you want to study in the United States at the graduate level. And so essay is another very important document. And believe me, admission officers read all essays because it's part of your application package. And it's the only way to find out who you truly are. Maybe it's a personal story about some kind of event in your life. Maybe it's a personal story about something that you had to overcome. Maybe you struggled with something and then, it created an obstacle, and the ways that you decided to overcome this obstacle are very important. And this is something that you should reflect in your essay. Please don't use somebody else's essay because, again, it should be you. It doesn't have to be a long essay. maybe 1.5 pages. And in most cases, again, because I do talk a lot to my colleagues, and we always prefer when students being themselves when they write essays. Definitely do spell check, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, because the last thing you want is to send an essay with spelling errors. And make sure that letters, if you apply into many universities at the same time, make sure that letters of recommendation are directed to this particular university, because you don't want to apply to University of Connecticut and then send a letter of recommendation that says to the admission officer of Berkeley, California, or something like that. That's a huge minus toward your application. So please be very thorough when you collect letters of recommendation. And when it comes to an essay, if you have somebody who is already attending a college or university in the United States, maybe it's a good idea to send them your essay just to check and see how it goes. But as I said, good admission officers will read your letters of recommendation, and especially essays. And in many cases, it could be a deciding factor between accepting you as a full-time student, or putting you on a wait list, or unfortunately denying your application for admission. We'll talk about these decisions a little bit later. So a very important role in college applications play decisions and application deadline. Early decisions, regular decisions. Most universities do have early decision or early action. Depends again on university, what they call it, and they can abbreviate it, and it goes as ED or EA for early action. So most universities have this deadline on November 1st or November 15th. And again, this information definitely can be found on university's website. And also, when you submit your application, they probably should come back to you and let you know about these dates. So what is early decision? So early decision is a type of early admission that allows students to apply ahead of time and find out university decision earlier than normal. Just to give you an example, that I always advise students for regular decisions to apply maybe around October or November. If you applying for, let's say, fall 2025, I would advise students to submit application by late October, early November. However, if you want to apply as early decision and find out if you're accepted or not, definitely submit your application by November 1st or 15th. And make sure that you submit the related documents, the required documents by the deadline. Some universities will allow you to submit your application by early decision deadline, November 1st or 15th, and they will give you maybe a week or two to submit the rest of your documents, such as transcript, test scores, letters of recommendation, and essay. But some universities will require you to complete your application by the early decision deadline, whether it's November 1st or November 15th. And in some cases, if you're accepted as part of early decision, there is a deadline for you to act on it. So if you're accepted as an early decision student, some universities will ask you to submit deposit by a certain deadline. Otherwise, your early decision may be revoked. Again, some universities will tell you that early decision or early action is not binding. So what it means is that you have this knowledge, that you have been accepted to this university. However, you still have the regular deadline to make up your mind. And usually the deadline is on May 1st of the year of your enrollment. to whether you want to make admission deposit, enrollment deposit now or later. And again, check with your admission officer. I don't think that early decision are applicable to graduate students. For most graduate students, we have this general application deadline, and early decision, early admission is mostly applicable to undergraduate students looking for bachelor's degrees in the United States. However, please remember that those deadlines are very hard deadlines, and most universities are not going to extend a deadline for you. So if you see that there is a deadline for early decision, act accordingly. Make sure that you submit your documents on time before the deadline. Or if it doesn't happen for various reasons, again, there is nothing to worry about, because most universities have general deadlines, which are usually in either December or January or February. Again, depends on university and its admission requirements. And most universities will definitely show and definitely have this information on their websites. So when it comes to regular admissions, as I mentioned before, most universities have deadline in February. Some universities, I know that California State University System, I believe their deadline is in November. So again, it's a good idea just to check when the application deadline. I can tell you that at my university, the deadline that we have for international students, not the early decision deadline, but a regular deadline, is February 1st. However, it's not a hard line deadline. We do allow other applicants to submit their applications even after the February 1st. Also, most universities have their decision deadline, which means that by this date, and usually it's May 1st, so it means that by this date, you have to make up your mind and you have to tell university, yes, I'm enrolling at your university, or no, unfortunately, I decided to go somewhere else. How do you do that? Well, you submit your enrollment deposit. And so your enrollment deposit is a way to say to university, I'm accepting your offer, whatever offer they made to you, and you're becoming part of their families. Not only you're accepted student, but then you move to a different category of deposited students. So you're almost there. And again, if you're an international student living overseas, in most cases, this is when university will start working on your I-20 and F1 student visas. I know that many universities, including my university, will not allow you to submit documents for the I-20 and F1 visa unless they receive the deposit, the enrollment deposit. So enrollment deposit comes first. Also, again, work with universities where you have been accepted to find out when is the university deadline. And I can tell you this year, most universities in the United States are pushing their decision deadline from May 1st to June 1st. It's related to the FAFSA deadline, because the deadline is for all kind of students, domestic students, international students. So we, for example, at my university, at Roger Williams University, we decided to extend it to June 1st. However, again, I'm advising all international students, if they made up their mind to submit the deposit by May 1st, only because after that, we start processing their documents for the I-20 and F1 visa. And in some countries, it may take a couple of months before students can schedule a visa appointment. So again, maybe it's a good idea, once you're 100% sure that you're going to this university, then why delay? There is no reason to wait until deadline. Submit the deposit, because again, if you're an international student, that's not the end of the road. You have to apply for the visa, and hopefully your application will be approved. So again, even if you miss the May 1st deadline, believe me, universities will be more than happy to receive your enrollment deposit even after the deadline decision. But again, as in many cases, it's a good idea to stay in touch with your admission counselor or international admission counselor and find out whether it is permitted to submit your deposit even after the deadline. So when you apply to universities, some of them will tell you, well, we don't have deadline. We have rolling admissions. What does it mean, rolling admissions? It means that unlike other application deadlines, students may apply to universities with rolling admissions at any time. Applications are viewed in the order they are received. And then once your application is complete and ready for review, an admission officer will be able to make the decision. Again, for international students, maybe it's not a good idea to start your application in June or July if you're planning to enroll for the fall 2024 semester, only because, again, remember that you need to secure a visa and it takes quite time for admission officers to process all the documents for the I-20, and then for students to schedule the visa interview at your local US embassy or US consulate. So even though many universities will offer you this option of rolling admissions, again, don't delay and make sure that you submit your application as soon as possible so you can move forward with your application process. So first of all, many universities these days have so-called applicant portal, and a university will send you acknowledgement of that your application has been received and they are processing your application. And in many cases, within 24 or 48 hours, you will receive credentials to log into your own application portal. Always do that, because this portal usually has so much useful information. First of all, you can check whether your application is complete and ready for review, or it's missing something, because sometimes, especially if schools operate with guidance counselors, your guidance counselor may tell you that yes, he or she submitted the transcript, and then it turns out that university never received it. Maybe they sent to somebody in the university, maybe not in the admissions office. So always check your application portal to see whether they received all the required documents. If something is missing and you don't understand something, why is it missing, or what kind of document university is looking for, again, application portal in most cases will have the admission counselor name and email address. So it will be easy for you to connect with your admission counselor or international admission counselor and start asking questions. Why your application is incomplete, what kind of document they are using or missing. And even when your application is complete and ready for review, again, you can ask the admission counselor when it will be reviewed and when you will hear from university. So there are three possible outcomes when it comes to admission decision: that you're accepted, and in this case, you will receive an email from the admission officer, or maybe from the dean of admissions or the VP of admissions, saying, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted to such and such university. We are very excited, and here's the list of items or steps that you need to do in order to become a student here. And in most cases, item number one, submit your enrollment deposit once you're 100% sure that you're going to enroll at this particular university. For undergraduate and graduate students, accepted students, there is another website specifically dealing with acceptance students, and it has information about dorms on campus if you apply to a residential university, for undergraduate and graduate students, what kind of medical forms they need to receive from you. So all kind of very, very helpful information, because you don't want to deal with these issues when you're on campus and you haven't submitted your medical documents or you haven't applied for housing. So that's why they will send this information to you in advance to make sure that you submit all the documents and your acceptance to this university goes smoothly. If you're not accepted, there are two additional scenarios. You're rejected. And in most cases, an admission officer should explain the reason why you're rejected, whether it's your grade, maybe it's your SAT score, maybe it's your English language test, or there is another reason why they decided to reject your application to these particular universities. And in most cases, again, especially if you're applying as an undergraduate student, a first-year undergraduate student, it's very, very difficult to get accepted at top-ranked universities as a first-year student. So most universities will give you like another opportunity if you definitely want to be a student at this university. So they will tell you, wait, well, you may want to attend a college or university, maybe in the United States, maybe in your native country, staying in your native country, maybe for 1 or 2 semesters, and then apply to same university as a transfer student. Okay, because it's much, much easier to get accepted to top-ranked universities in the United States as a transfer student rather than first-year students. So again, hopefully the letter that you receive, the rejection letter, will explain everything from A to Z. And then again, do not be discouraged. Stay in touch with this admission officer or international admission officer and ask, is there another way to be a student of this particular university? And they will be more than happy to explain that yes. And in most cases, as I mentioned, if you attend maybe a community college in the United States or an accredited college or university in your native country. Waitlisted, it's the most undecided stage of your application, when they tell you, well, we're not sure whether we want to accept or reject you. So for now, you're waitlisted. It means that there is currently no room for students with your academic record. Maybe your GPA, again, is not high enough, but it's not too low at the same time. So they're not rejecting you right away. But space may become available depending on whether other accepted students decide to accept their offer and attend this university. When you receive wait list email or letter from a university saying that you are being waitlisted, they will always tell you, we would like to know whether you accept this waitlist status. And in most cases, they will guide you again to their application portal, where there is a form where you can say, yes, I would like to remain on your wait list. And as soon as space is available, please let me know if I can be accepted. Or no, I don't want to be waitlisted because I've been accepted to XYZ university. And if I'm waitlisted at this university, I've decided to accept their offer. But if you decide to stay, to remain on the wait list, again, please check for emails from this university, because in most cases, even if we're talking about top-ranked universities in the United States, sometimes when they see that there is plenty of space available for the waitlisted students, they will open the wait list and they will probably give you a deadline. they tell you that, hey, you've been waitlisted, but we have a space available for you. Please reply by such and such date and let us know if you want to be accepted as a full-time student to this undergraduate program. In most cases, when you're applying for a graduate program in the United States, they will tell you right away that most likely they're not going to waitlist you, and they will tell you if you're accepted or rejected once your application is being reviewed by a graduate admission officer. But then again, they should explain the reason why they decided to reject you if you're not accepted, and maybe maybe you haven't submitted GRE or GMAT test that they require, so you can resubmit your application for the next intake if it's not fall 24, maybe January 2025, and then submit the missing document. Or maybe again, maybe you missed some kind of a deadline, and if you decide to reapply again, make sure that you keep this deadline. But again, in most cases, for graduate students, there is no wait list. Okay, and as I've been working in admissions for more than 20 years, I can always tell you that it's totally appropriate to contact admission counselor during the application process. We are always ready to answer any questions you have from any students and even parents. If you're first-year students, definitely involve your parents into this decision making. Just again, please read these notes, how to get in touch with your admission officer. Definitely be polite. Don't call or email every day. If you send them an email, believe me, it means that they received it. If they haven't answered right away, then they have something else, which is more pressing right now. Usually give them maybe 4 or 5 days to reply, and within a week they should send back your reply. The best time to communicate with admission counselor is definitely after you submit your application for admission, because if you send your transcript but they don't have your application on file, there is no place to put it, especially if they work with the CRM system. So once you submit your application, you will definitely know within a couple of days who your admission officer is, and it will be easier for you to contact your application officer. Again, please be polite. Please don't start your emails with "Hey" or "How you doing?" Always introduce yourself, because most admission counselors are working with hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants. So give them your name, what degree you applied for, what is your major. Definitely check for spelling and grammatical mistakes when you send your email, because admission officers that will read your email is the same admission officer who will make your admission decision for your application. And be professional. Again, so if your email address, if anything other than from your name or initials, consider creating a new one. Definitely, try not to send emails from an email address that has maybe bad words, or even profanities. So again, and these cases definitely happened in my professional experience. Okay, so, and also make sure it doesn't include anything offensive, silly or bizarre. Please don't send emails to a bunch of people on campus, because admission officers usually don't like it. What it means on our end is that all these other people that you emailed will be forwarding the same email to the admission officer. So don't do that. Again, send email only to your admission officer, and hopefully they will be able to reply pretty soon. Okay, I think we are ready for questions. and I believe
Yes,
there are
we
several
are.
questions in the chat. So, Jasmine, who
Thank you
is
so
first?
much for the presentation, Dmitry. And I think your closing slide is so applicable to colleges and universities, even to evaluation services, because you, as an international student, are demonstrating your academic achievements. And the best way to present that is via your communication style and how you approach the professionals who are handling your application for admission, your application for credential evaluation, your application for employment. I think in today's modern stage of kind of being caught up behind our social media platforms and just texting and tweeting, we've kind of lost that decorum. So I really appreciate you bringing that much important note on communication as to how to approach that. All right, we have a couple of questions. First one is from Rebecca. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for posting your questions. Her question is, the Common App, is it for the Bachelor of Arts programs only, or is it applicable to other
It's
undergraduate
It is
or
only
graduate?
for undergraduate programs, not specifically for Bachelor of Arts. But if you're applying to a certain university, then it's for all the programs that they have. So when you start your application process with the college application, there is a special place after many personal questions about you, the school that you're attending, your parents, and the next one is the field of study that you want to apply for. And then you can select only one major with the common application. But again, please remember that it's not like written in stone. If you submitted application, let's say for, and just an example, for political science, and later you decided, oh gosh, no, I want to study philosophy. At any time, you can email your admission counselor because you cannot change your major in common application once you submitted it. Once you submitted common application, then it's done. However, those applications, they go to certain universities, up to 20 universities, as I mentioned, and you can reach out to admission officer at each of those universities and ask them to change your major from one that you declared on the common application to whatever major you decide to change to.
Wonderful. Thank you. Rebecca has a couple more questions. The next one
Sure.
is, the portal to be in contact with the schools, is it separate than the Common App?
Absolutely, yes. So the portal is part of the university to which you're applying. And again, some universities may have this application portal, some don't. So usually you will find out 24 to 48 hours after they process your application. And if they do, they will send you login credentials to your personal email. So check your emails on a daily basis. Sometimes it may go to spam. So even check your spam box. And if you have this opportunity to log in and create your personal application portal, again, I highly recommend it. And all the decisions, all the communications from admission officers will be reflected in the application portal. But it's not part of common application. Common application is only, it's an online tool to submit your application to the members of the common application. And once you submit this application, you're not going to stay in touch with the common application rather than separate universities that received your application for admission.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Rebecca's last question is, do the teachers upload their recommendations directly to the Common App?
Sometimes they may, sometimes it's not possible because of various reasons, technical reasons. Maybe they don't have access to common application. There are other websites or domains that teachers and guidance counselors can use, such Naviance, Cialfo. Sometimes, you can ask your admission counselor if it's okay to send letters of recommendations or missing documents directly to them. At least this way, you know that they received it. Because once you send it, they usually will let you know that, hey, I received it, and they can upload it to your application. So again, it depends, but yeah, you may ask your teachers to upload these letters. When it comes to transcripts, though, most universities prefer to receive transcripts directly from schools, or schools when schools upload these documents directly on your application portal. Because if you submit your high school or college transcript, then it means that this transcript is not official. When school submits your transcript, then it is labeled as official transcript.
Perfect. Thank you. We don't have any more questions, but we still have about 5 or 6 minutes left to the end of our webinar. So if there are still questions, please feel free to type them in. But in the meantime, I'd like to also remind all of those attending today that we will continue with this webinar presentation with our final topic, which would be next Wednesday, April 24th, again at 10 a.m. Pacific. And Dmitry will then share his insights on financial aid for international students. I know this is a big topic. This came up in last week's webinar. So for those of you attending, please join us and do share the link with friends and others who may be interested in learning more about U.S. higher education, particularly about the financial aid.
Absolutely.
Well, if there's no more questions, Dmitry, if there's anything you'd like to say to wrap up.
I would like to, it's like a bottom line to summarize. When I talk to prospective students, and we talk about different universities, programs that they offer, I always tell them, first step is to submit your application. Okay, so once you submit an application, you will stay in touch with admission officers. You will be able to upload all the required documents. Okay, but you have to make this first step and submit your application for admission, whether it's through the common application, whether it's through a different application portal that belongs to this particular university, but you have to make this first step. No matter how many emails you can send to an admission officer, still they will probably answer your emails, but they will not be able to upload your documents unless you submitted your application for admission. Regardless whether you're an undergraduate or graduate student, please, once you definitely decided that the United States is where you're planning to go for your undergraduate or graduate studies, then start working on your application.
Beautiful. We do have one question. This is from Naho. Naho asks, tell us again about the hard deadline and enrollment deposit at your institution. It seems
Again,
like if I could just continue, it seems like your application system still allows to submit the application even if the hard deadline is passed. How do you communicate with the students depending on the country? And how do you ask enrollment deposit from the students?
Okay, thank you. So answer number one regarding the hard deadline. As I mentioned during my presentation, many universities still allow students, especially international students, to apply even after the deadline. But you definitely want to find out whether they're accepting applications by connecting with admission officers. Not necessarily the admission officer that you will be working with, but general admission account, whether it's admission at XYZ University, and you will find this email address when you visit university's websites. So just email them and introduce yourself and tell them that you're an international student from such and such country, and you're planning to apply for the upcoming intake, which in most cases it's fall 2024, and then wait for their reply. If they're still allowing students to submit application, not only they will reply to you, but also they will provide a link where you can go and apply, or they will tell you where common application, university or college, and you can apply through the common application. There is no difference between the countries if you're, regardless of your nationality or citizenship policies are the same. So when it comes to enrollment deposit, again, it's a way for the accepted students to let the university know that I'm accepting your offer and I will be enrolling at your university. In most cases, enrollment deposits represent small amount, maybe like $200 for tuition deposit, and then maybe another $200 for the housing deposit if you're planning to live on campus. And in all cases, your enrollment deposit will be applied toward your first tuition and housing bill. So it's not like university will pocket your enrollment deposit and you will lose it. But also, in many cases, enrollment deposit is not refundable unless some universities make exception if your visa is denied and you submit official letter from the US Embassy or a US consulate that your visa application has been denied, they may refund your enrollment deposit. But submitting the enrollment deposit, again, you're telling university that, hey guys, I applied to many universities, I've been accepted to many universities, but I'm submitting my enrollment deposit to you, and I'm coming to your university. In most cases, you will be able, a university will send you a link where you can submit enrollment deposit and use your credit card to pay the enrollment deposit.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, we are pretty much at the end of the hour, but to all of our attendees, I really appreciate your attending this webinar today. And if you still come up with questions, here's our email, aci@aci-global.org. Please shoot us the email. We'll forward it to Dmitry. And again, a big thank you to you, Dmitry, for this informative, insightful, and really honest to goodness presentation on how to go about with the application process. And next week, the financial aid. So I look forward to having everyone again joining us next week, and to be continued. Thank you,
Me too.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.